Why did Carthage lose to Rome? In the year 146 BC, Roman soldiers burned a city to the ground for 17 days straight. Then they salted the earth beneath it so nothing would grow there again. That city was Carthage. 100 years earlier, it wasn't Rome's victim. It was Rome's equal, richer, in some ways more powerful, with a navy that ruled the Western Mediterranean before Rome had ever built a warship worth the name. So how does the wealthier empire with the better navy and a 200-year head start end up erased from the map completely, while Rome goes on to rule most of the known world? The answer isn't one battle. It's 3 wars fought across more than a century and a handful of decisions that Carthage kept getting wrong at exactly the moment it couldn't afford to. Before any of this was inevitable, Carthage was the dominant power in the Western Mediterranean, a trading empire built by Phoenician settlers running on commerce instead of conquest, colonies, ports, and a navy built to protect merchant routes, not to fight land wars. Rome, by comparison, was a land power, excellent legions, no real navy to speak of, and a habit of winning wars the slow, grinding way, through sheer manpower and stubbornness. The two empires might have coexisted indefinitely if not for Sicily, a large island sitting almost exactly between them, and valuable enough that neither side could stand to let the other control it. And the fight over that one island is going to force Carthage into building something it was never designed to have, a real war navy, built from scratch in a matter of months. Keep that in mind, because it's about to matter twice. This is the First Punic War, and against every expectation, Rome, a land power with almost no naval tradition, builds a fleet, copies a captured Carthaginian warship design, and beats Carthage at its own game on the water. 23 years of grinding war, and Carthage loses its first major territory, not because its navy was inferior on paper, but because Rome simply refused to stop rebuilding fleets after every disaster, and Carthage eventually ran out of the will to match it. Carthage doesn't disappear after that loss. It rebuilds, expanding into Spain instead, building a new power base, and raising a general who will become one of the most feared commanders in history, Hannibal Barca. In 218 BC, Hannibal does something Rome considers strategically impossible. Instead of sailing to attack Italy, he marches an army, elephants included, over the Alps, appearing on Rome's home soil from a direction no one prepared to defend. What follows is close to 15 years of Hannibal handing Rome one catastrophic defeat after another. At the Battle of Cannae alone, Rome loses more soldiers in a single day than almost any army in ancient history, an encirclement so complete that historians still study it as a masterpiece 2,000 years later. By every reasonable measure, Rome should have sued for peace. Hannibal is undefeated on Italian soil for over a decade. But here's where Carthage makes the mistake that arguably costs it the entire war. It doesn't send Hannibal the reinforcements he keeps asking for. Its own government hesitates, distracted by politics and rival factions, while its greatest general wins battle after battle with an army that keeps getting small. Remember that navy Carthage was forced to build in the First War? By now, Rome's navy is stronger than Carthage's, which means every reinforcement has to fight through hostile waters just to reach Hannibal. The war Carthage lost at sea decades earlier is quietly strangling the war it's winning on land. While Hannibal is undefeated in Italy, Rome makes a decision that flips the entire war. Instead of continuing to fight Hannibal on his terms, a Roman general named Scipio sails directly for Carthage's home territory in North Africa. It works exactly as intended. Carthage panics and recalls Hannibal, the general who spent 15 undefeated years in Italy, to come home and defend the capital instead. At the Battle of Zama in 202 BC, Hannibal finally loses, not because he was outmatched as a commander, but because he's forced to fight on ground and terms he didn't choose, with an army rebuilt in a hurry instead of the veteran force he'd spent over a decade training. Carthage survives the Second Punic War, but barely. It loses Spain, its navy, most of its territory, and is forced into a peace treaty that strips away nearly everything except the city itself. And here's the detail most people miss. Carthage actually recovers economically over the next 50 years. It pays off its war debt early. It starts prospering again, which is exactly the problem because a wealthy, recovering Carthage, even without an army worth mentioning, still terrifies certain voices in Rome. There's a Roman senator named Cato who ends every single speech in the Senate, regardless of the topic, with the same sentence: Carthage must be destroyed. Not because Carthage is currently a threat, because Rome has decided it can never risk Carthage becoming one again. In 149 BC, Rome manufactures a pretext for war and lays siege to Carthage itself, a city that by this point has no meaningful navy, no Hannibal, and barely any army left to defend it. The siege lasts 3 years. When the city finally falls, Rome doesn't just defeat Carthage, it erases it. The population is killed or enslaved. The city is burned for over 2 weeks, and so Carthage doesn't lose to Rome in one war, or one battle, or one bad decision. It loses across 100 years of choices, a navy built too late, reinforcements that never arrived in time, a war won on the wrong terrain, and a recovery that frightened its enemy more than its weakness ever had. Rome didn't just win a war against Carthage, it made sure there would never be a second Carthage to worry about again.
And if you like these kinds of shocking historical facts, then subscribe to the channel.